Hello everybody, my name is DJ Seth Sharp and I'm sitting here with my good friend DJ Cyppie.
Hi everyone.
And we are in a coffee shop in Reykjavik, Iceland, where we both DJ.
Yep.
Cyppie and I always have these afternoon coffee shop chats. We're always discussing movies and politics and music, DJing of course. And Cyppie was like, hey Seth, you have to watch the movie Django Unchained, right?
Yeah.
How many times did you try to convince me to watch it?
I think about a million. Every single time I met you after watching it, I convinced you, and I'd watched it twice before actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to see Django Unchained because I was like, I'm just going to be offended the entire time. And then there was this controversy about it because he used the N-word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the N-word.
And especially, you know, for me, especially living in a country where there's a lot of confusion about the N-word because, you know, most of the people here.
I think for me, what I gathered here is that it's used in the wrong frame. It's used as they mean it as a term of endearment just because I feel like they're not really educated about the word, or they don't know the historical context of the word. So when they what you have is there's a lot of foreign music, African American music in terms of hip hop and R&B coming in on TV all the time, and the N word is used so much. There's no censoring in Iceland. I noticed that there's no censoring on radio. You have like all, what do you call them? Curse words being out there, and so they use it as a term of endearment. So if someone walks up to you and uses it, you know you don't know how to respond to the whole thing. You're usually all the time, you know, that word is it's always a lot of explaining to do. I know that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
That's really for another day.
I mean that was. Do you remember the first time that it happened to you? That somebody came up to you and said, "Yo, what's up, my N-word?"
Yeah.
Was it shocking?
It was very shocking. It was very shocking because my first reaction was like, "What do you say?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I remember it so well because after they said that, they said, "Yeah, because here we associate that with black people and we think it's cool."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
But then in the end, that's a topic for another day.
Okay,
Let's talk Django.
We will probably make many of these videos, so.
I hope so. I hope we have.
Django
I hope we have more times for coffees and let's talk Django.
So, I saw Django. I went to see it.
Yeah.
And I must say that I'm glad that you convinced me to see it because I wasn't really offended.
Yeah, I mean I think there is a way in which QT actually creates the story. It's a very touchy subject, you know, the subject of slavery. And I feel as though we are constantly being reminded about it today from most of the TV programs that I'm seeing, from the movies that are coming out, even the nominated Academy Awards, the films that have been nominated. There's a lot of them talking about this subject. It's a very touchy issue, as I pointed out. I have no idea why that is happening. But yeah, there is a lot of talk about it. So the way QT does it, I think he approached it in such a way that you cannot be mad at him. You cannot be mad at the film for actually touching this subject like this. Because he places, in my opinion, this is what I think, Seth, that this happened in American history. This happened. Everybody knows that. Nobody really wants to talk about it. But he's getting you to talk about it.
Right.
So by presenting it in a fashion in which you get to see it, at first you were entertained, and then you still see some of the brutality that was going on. You know, the people being fed to dogs, you know, stuff like that. It gets you in a zone where you can actually watch the film and laugh.
Yeah.
And then in a moment in time you can actually see the harsh realities of the film. And I think he has done this in so many pleasant ways. He gets you to it. First of all, the way he names his characters. I mean, Brunhilde von Shaft. You have Calvin Candy. And of course, a plantation being referred to as Candyland.
Yeah.
If you look at it today, when I say Candyland, that's a place where Nami Daigo.
Yeah. No, I love candy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and every weekend here.
That was the name of my band.
Exactly. You still have the band, right?
Well, that's another discussion.
All right, yeah. But I'm meaning, like, you see that association, like, and there's this moment in time where Jamie Foxx actually says, his character actually says, every slave knows about Candyland.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and when you hear this and the torture that goes on in Candyland, I mean, that just, it's a fantasy, it's a harsh reality.
Yeah.
It's working in both ways.
Yeah.
For me, I just found like this is a way in which he plays with us, plays with our emotions, and we're stuck in the film throughout the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Just random thoughts.
Well, I mean, you studied film and you taught film studies.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know because I studied acting and directing at Yale. Whenever I'm watching a film or a play,
Yeah.
I try to turn this little switch off, but
Yeah.
I'm always evaluating the acting and the direction.
Yeah.
So when you're watching Django Unchained, were you evaluating it as a film studies major?
No, at the first time when I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch a QT film, and I was like, first of all, I'm gonna do what everybody does when they watch a QT film, which is get excited.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want to
yeah.
put myself, as you said, for me, I didn't think about putting myself in that zone of analyzing the film, you know, or anything. And I was so excited about it that I decided to watch it again, you know, just to see the film again.
Okay.
And from this time, I was like, okay, maybe I'll try and see the methods he used to trap me in the first time. And that is funny, Seth, is that at the second screening of it again, I didn't have time to analyze it. I just rewatched it again.
Okay.
But like the afterthought, like right now when I'm talking to you, I'm just thinking, for example, like there's a lot to see in this film. For example, the main character, who I would consider the what do you call it, the knight in shining armor in the film, who was Christoph Waltz, King. Again, a name, King. They gave him the name King.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was weird.
That was very weird, yeah, when he was given that name. But when you look at his character, what is he? You know, there's a lot of questions I start asking myself.
Yeah.
How does he know where to find Django, for example?
Yeah,
When I look
yeah,
at
yeah.
that. How does he know where to find him? How does he know where to find all these criminals? You know, how does he do it? How does he always have answers and leads you on and leads the main character on to fulfill this? And he does it in a way whereby he brings in European history, or not history, European folklore, to guide Django to go and fulfill his purpose.
Yeah.
You know, when he starts telling him the story about Broomhilda and why she was named like that, and who Django is supposed to come and be.
Right.
So it's really weird when they're bringing in this European folklore to tackle a problem in America at that point in time.
Yeah.
So for me, that was fascinating. So I'm really intrigued by this character. So maybe next time when we are having a coffee, I would now analyze the movie from that perspective. But I was very intrigued by him. I like him. I like Christoph Waltz.
You bring up a good point about how the movie is sort of filtered through this perspective of this German expatriate.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the two of us are expatriates. You know, you're from Kenya originally, and you've lived in Asia.
Yeah.
And now you live in Iceland.
Wow.
And, you know, I'm from the US originally, and now I live in Iceland. And I think that there is a unique perspective from expatriates because everything that you witness in the culture of your new country is always filtered. There's a filter from your original country, or from all the countries that you visit.
Yeah.
And so, like you're saying, I felt like that when I was watching this movie, that I wasn't watching the typical slave movie made by an American, but I was watching a slave movie that had been filtered by somebody who was looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
And even though there are definitely remnants of somebody who is a part of the culture, you know, like Quentin Tarantino is a part of American culture.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he totally succeeded in removing himself from that, but I think that was a really interesting step by having this main character be German.
Yeah.
Because it did help me to divorce myself, I think, from some of the ownership of being an American, being an African American watching this this movie.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Also, and like what you were saying, that we are actually, again, we are watching this film, or we watched it here in Iceland, here in Reykjavik, whereby this it's also very the whole American history, the whole history of slavery is very foreign to this place, and it's only like until I don't know until very recently that they're getting in a lot of tourists coming in or people moving into Iceland and getting to experience a lot of different cultures. And by understanding or by getting to learn about the different cultures and their histories, I think that is something that is very positive, at least for me being here. So when people, I'd like it when people watch this film, I'm sure you're gonna get to questions asked to you when you DJ or when you're at a party or something. I can assure you this, and I promise you, a lot of these questions are gonna come from this. From this, it's gonna make people. That's the thing I like about it. It's gonna make people start reading back into. It was addressed. I think it was addressed in a very good manner, a manner that will get you interested in learning the history of this very brutal thing. I think that. But what was the most interesting part of the film, anyways? Let's not bore people with.
Well. My mother had watched Django, and she had tried to convince me to watch it as well.
Yeah.
And she was talking about the acting, and she really enjoyed Samuel L. Jackson's portrayal of the Uncle Tom character. And I've never been a huge fan of Samuel L. Jackson. I kind of feel like he plays the same guy in every single movie, whether it's Snakes on a Plane or Jungle Fever.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a function of him being an actor, or it could be just a function of, the scripts that he gets. Who knows? But I found his character really interesting. I was disappointed though, because I wanted him and Tarantino to create a character that wasn't this jive turkey. You know what I mean? Because I thought I would have been blown away if they were able to take that same Samuel L. Jackson-ness and totally commit to an Uncle Tom, an authentic Uncle Tom from that era. Because, at times he became the crackhead from Jungle Fever.
Yeah.
Or the guy from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And I just thought that it would have been just mind-blowing if he had totally committed to being like this southern Uncle Tom that had never, been in the projects in the Bronx. And that wasn't jive and bad.
Yeah.
But was like evil in a southern Uncle Tom plantation house slave way to the fullest.
But if let me just pose this to you. I don't know, because imagine this film is being watched by someone who has no idea who Samuel L. Jackson is. You have no idea who he is, or his history with QT, or his history as a filmmaker, or as an actor.
Right.
Someone has not seen that. How was the portrayal? How do you think the acting actually came out if you had no idea who this guy was? Do you think that people would have the same? I mean, because I'm watching, I'm trying to see this. I'm trying to detach, as you said, to divorce myself from the whole idea of even knowing that Samuel L. Jackson existed. Because in this movie, I think it's in this film, this is before even Samuel L. Jackson existed. So if you have no idea, if you have no history of who this guy is, all right, how do you think the portrayal was? I really liked it.
I think if you, I grew up, hearing slave narratives and going to see all sorts of plays about slaves and even musicals, and my mom is an actress and an educator and stuff, and so we were very well versed in Zora Neale Hurston, for example, this Harlem Renaissance writer, who wrote in dialect, this slave dialect which was passed down. So I guess if you hadn't really been raised in how that type of an Uncle Tom should be, and you didn't have a picture of how he might be, let's say you were from here, from Iceland, and you were just watching this movie, you might think that that's just authentic, and you probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But my problem with that, and especially as somebody who has studied and taught acting, is that I feel like you can always take things a step further to blow your audience's mind for the biggest nerd who was sitting there, for the biggest internet troll.
Yeah.
Because Yeah, I think that's who you should aim for. And I know there are some people say, no, just ignore that, you know. But whenever I'm working on something, I do approach these things, you know, as a nerd, and I try to do stuff that most people won't even notice. So that's the kind of thing that I was expecting and hoping for in a Tarantino film and in Jackson's performance, and I really, really wanted that. I wanted him to impress the nerds out there who know what an Uncle Tom should sound like from the South, and I wanted him to just totally be the most evil version of that, rather than having to slip into jive.
Yeah.
Because I think for all those people who have no exposure to what an Uncle Tom is, you know,
there is a whole lot.
This is now the new, you know, for them.
Yeah, this would become that.
This is the Uncle Tom.
This is the. All right, no, I get where you're coming from. I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah, if this is the Uncle Tom, then.
Yeah, and for most people, this will probably be the only Uncle Tom that they get. You know what I mean? And then you'll see, you know, the kids in the street as they do, as they like to mimic, you know, the movies that they see.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, oh, let's play Uncle Tom, and he's gonna, you know, be talking jive.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that people have to authentically be playing Uncle Toms when they're acting out movie scenes.
Yeah.
But I just think I would have been like bowled over with like impressedness. Not that he has to impress me, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't know if this is what QT was going for, because he always has a way of like playing around with his characters until you get lost in the characters, and at the same time you get lost in the story. So he might have, I don't know if this was an added element to like break the Uncle Tom, whatever, introduce a new thing, have something new going. As you know, this was based on spaghetti westerns, but QT himself said it's not a western, it's a southern. You know, but it's actually based on something else. So for me, maybe this is a new Uncle Tom.
It very well could be. I mean, he seemed to be reinventing a lot of different wheels.
Yeah, with the entire the film itself.
The film itself.
Yeah, I mean, jeez, there was a lot. It was the first time I'm hearing rap music in a western.
And in a slave movie.
In a slave movie, exactly.
You know,
I'm
imagining watching Roots with a rap soundtrack.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and it's fascinating to see some of the facets that we have today in, like for example, the hip hop culture. When, for example, Django himself was asked to pick out his own costume. Yeah. And he went ahead and picked out the blue boy costume, which is actually a French. I think it was from a French painting. He actually picked out that costume. Right. So this for me is when I look at him, I'm seeing like he's first of all he's Django. He's a slave, has problems reading, and yet he's still very intelligent at the same time. He's able to literally pick out this type of clothing based on, this is from a very famous painting. He was able to do that. His intelligence comes in at the same time. In 1 minute, he's extremely intelligent. He's able to play a character to the T, And then in the other second, he goes back to being like, I don't know. I'm just a slave. So this, for me, this is just, I don't know how cute he does it, but he just happens to he plays around with the character so much.
But I sometimes wonder though, because I feel like when I'm watching a movie, I give the director too much room to be God, as if they're not making mistakes. And sometimes I feel like some things are just probably mistakes. Like when Jamie Foxx comes in and out of his accent, or comes in and out of different types of intelligence, or when even Samuel Jackson, came in and out of different accents. Or even Leonardo DiCaprio. I feel like sometimes I'm wondering, did the director intend that? But then I think sometimes probably just the director was like, he did the best he could, Like if he looks back at the tapes, at the end of the day, and he's like, Samuel's, accent slipped a little bit, but it's a long day. Nobody's gonna notice except for film nerds.
Or people are just gonna say it's a Tarantino movie.
Exactly.
In the end, then I believe then he writes, then he's writing something new. In that, from the fact that we can observe, we can watch this film, and see all these things, and then in the end we're still like, there's Tarantino in that.
Yeah.
You know, he's in there. He's in that movie. Then I think then he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
In my capacity, but I'm not really analyzing the film right now. That's for another day. We can talk about it.
So okay, so let's wrap it up. Do you recommend this movie?
I do highly.
To everybody.
To everybody for lots of reasons. Maybe I'll mention one or two reasons. Firstly, because of what it talks about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you think it talks about slavery, you know, because there's certain people who have said that it doesn't really talk about slavery. It talks about something else. It's a journey through something else. But I'd recommend it so that people can know that this actually happened and the harsh brutalities of what slavery was.
Mm-hmm.
And there's modern day slavery today.
Yeah.
So if there's a connection they can make through that. Mm-hmm. I would say this is so weird for me to say this. I would say this is an awareness to watch it for the awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And also I just gotta say one thing. I just remembered one thing. What's his name? Is it Jonah Hill? Yeah, he's in the movie as a member of the Regulators, the guys who existed before the KKK.
Mm-hmm.
Something I think Tarantino made up and made such a joke of it, you know. And for me, this for me was one of the most entertaining scenes. I'm not gonna lie to you. When the guys had the sacks on their heads, bitched and moaned over such stupidity.
Yeah.
And these are people who actually call themselves the Regulators.
Yeah.
So if you can put the Regulators with such stupidity and such ignorance,
yeah.
then I'm still surprised that you have this going on up until today.
Yeah.
You know, something that is founded on such ignorance and stupidity. I don't know. That for me was really funny.
That was funny.
It was really, really funny. And having Jonah there, you know, it was crazy. But yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay.
I would.
I would recommend it too.
Sweet. So,
all right. So thank you, Cyppie. That's been our first of our coffee shop chats.
Yeah.
Well, that we recorded. At least we hope you enjoy it. What did you think of Django Unchained?
Just tell them the next one is going to be. We are not going to be so nice. I think the next one we're gonna. Been very fair.
But anyway, where can they find you, DJ Cyppie?
Seth, you just put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
The bottom of the screen.
And this is where you will find me.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Wait. Oh,
right
there. My finger.
This is so weird.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
My hand looks so huge.
Yeah, it is.
That's good though. Anyway, you will find us on the internet.
Yeah, you can find us.
Huge hands.
Nice.
The bigger the hands for DJing. These big DJ hands. Anyway, see you guys soon.
Yeah, I should get ready for the night. I don't know if I should do some funk. Yeah, I'm gonna do some funk music tonight. Mm-hmm. Probably some funk and rap.
Do it all.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
All right.